Hello, this is the first optional question and answer opportunity, like a live question and answer opportunity for the Counseling in Schools course for the spring semester at East Carolina University. I'll be available to answer any questions that any of the students might have, and I look forward to the opportunity to talk about our projects and assignments for the course. And any questions you have about the program and the process. So as students join and pose questions, then I'll try to talk through those. I'll give a few minutes to see who joins up, and then from there we'll go into a discussion, answer questions or go into a discussion of the assignments, combination of the two. Thanks. As we get started tonight, or this afternoon, I'm going to talk through the assignments and just provide you with a little extra explanation about the assignments. For people that might have questions about the assignments, please feel free to post those questions. And hopefully this will just kind of help to round out some of the information that we have in Blackboard. And let me tell you, with your Blackboard, you've got information in a number of different formats. That's because you've got you have many different learning styles represented in our class. And for many of our graduate students, we find that they feel much more comfortable about the process of the course if they have access to more of the information early on. To the extent possible that I'm able to give you is extensive information about the assignments. That's what I try to do, so that you'll feel prepared and you have the opportunity to engage with it. If it feels more overwhelming to you in that format, then take it a step at a time. You can look right down the weekly grid that's part of the syllabus and just see what's due for the first week, for the second week, for the coming weeks. Like where are we and what's expected. Your content in this course will be delivered through Blackboard. It's an asynchronous course for the most part. In addition, we'll have some additional sessions like this that you have an opportunity to engage with me and your classmates in a synchronous format. But for the most part, it's an asynchronous course. And the content is delivered in Blackboard in the modules. You'll find readings, assignments of readings for the different chapters from your text. You'll find some extra documents that are shared, the information from some of the from websites, that content and lecture, PowerPoint lecture. So you'll have content in the modules. And engage with that content, and then we have our discussion board debates where we work to support a particular position. Each week, the groups are assigned a position, either the reality of the topic or what would be ideal for the focus in the profession of school counseling. And I ask that you do your very best to stay in group. Like if you're assigned to the reality of the topic, but you think that we definitely should be working towards the ideal, it's hard to articulate that reality, right? But being able to do that, to step back from your position and really consider the other position, that'll help you be better prepared when you go to your principals or other stakeholders to try to get them excited and enthusiastic about your ideas and your work and invested in it, so that you're able to secure the resources necessary to do the work of your school counseling program. You've got to be a good advocate. Those debates should help with that. So the first assignment, within the assignments, is that discussion board, like class participation and engagement on discussion board. So we've had a couple of questions early on about when are the discussion board posts due. for this class to be, for you to get the most out of the content of the course, you got to be actively engaged in those discussions. So what I ask is that you post an initial post by Wednesday of each week. If you can get, once we have those initial posts up, we've got the discussion is started. It's off and running, right? If everybody waits to post to the end of the week, it's very difficult to get a discussion that flows. So I ask that you make your initial post by Wednesday of the week. It doesn't matter to me about the time. Just post it, when you can on Wednesday. Then the next step is your at least one response post to a colleague, and that needs to be done by Friday of each week. There had been an error in the syllabus initially where it said Saturday, but I tried to step back from that this semester to be very conscious of the time that you have that is time you should guard for engagement with your family and your hobbies and your personal selves. So instead of running in any of your assignments into the Saturdays, I am trying to be conscious of that. So it asks that you make your at least one response post by Friday. Now, if you need to respond on Saturday, that's fine. It's fine for you to do that. Graduate school is really hard though, and it takes up a lot of your time. It requires extensive investment on your part, right? And it's easy to feel like you're emerging from like a groundhog, the end of graduate school to this new day where you'll suddenly get to do things with your families again, and you'll get to attend your religious or faith-based services. You'll get to go to the events that your family's going to that you've missed for 2 years. Don't do that to yourself. There'll be times you can't do everything and you have to prioritize an assignment or a class component. But to the extent possible, when important things are going on in your family's lives and in your life and within your community, engage with those things. If you find yourself working every single minute, then we might need to rebalance how we're doing some of your courses. And talk to your advisor about that. But that's why in the discussion board post that I asked that you do your initial post by Wednesday and at least one response post by Friday, okay? It's great to me if you are able to do more response posts. That's wonderful. What we want is a rich conversation that we all learn from and encourage us all to grow, right? That conversation will only be rich and growth promoting if we're fully engaged in it. So one post to a colleague is your baseline, right? That's your minimum. But so one initial post by Wednesday and at least one response post by Friday. If you have any questions about that, please let me know. The next assignment are the quizzes. Most of your modules are going to include many of your modules will include a little quiz. It's usually a pretty short quiz. It should be pretty fast to do, less than 15 minutes. These quizzes are intended to help you prepare for your final exam. Make sure you take your quizzes. Okay. If you have any questions about those, let me know. And then your next assignment is the real or ideal public service announcement. All right, so with this one, this helps to spark our debate. So you got all your content. You got the information from about the topics that we're covering, right? Like your basic course content. That's delivered in your module. You got your readings. But then the real and the ideal is an opportunity for you as a group to present. You'll do it individually, but it's an opportunity for you, within our group, to present a creative presentation of what that means, how it looks in the school, right? So use that time. There is a pretty good, I think, or a pretty extensive explanation of this assignment in your Blackboard site, so check that out. But use that. Be creative. You cannot go wrong with it. Do your very best to present your side and convince us that it's right and that real or ideal. Now, for that assignment, you'll only do one. You sign up for one. Many of you have already done that. You've already signed up for the ones that you needed to. You made your choices. You submitted your response. I've got it posted, right? If you haven't signed up, go in and find one and sign up. But you sign up for one topic on either the real or the ideal side. It is not necessary that your side for that week correspond to the side of your group, okay? For that week, you are who you chose for your video, okay? The reality of what we live with and how we function as a profession around this topic, or the ideal of where we should be moving towards, okay? If you have any questions, let me know. These can be really creative. There are a lot of options out there. The talking head, like what you're getting from me right now, it's not that convincing, right? Creative presentation. Think about the commercials that you see, the things that tug at your heart or light that fire and make you feel motivated, do that. Do good creative work and allow yourself some opportunity to stretch into that creative realm. The culture and community context essay requires that you talk to somebody from the Chamber of Commerce and that you spend a little time in your community. For this class, you have to choose a school to work with for your service learning project, right? You're going to do an interest in service learning project there. You're going to work with your school and your partner and determine, like, what is the need that we'd like to try to address? And how are we going to try to address it? How can we engage some other partners to help us with this? Like community stakeholders. Who do we need to have involved, and how can we engage those people? How are we going to put this intervention in place? And then what impact did it make? You have that opportunity to choose this topic, choose this focus, and really try to make a difference around it. Start of that, though, is to really understand your community. Not just a brief understanding, like get out there. See, what is this community like outside the walls of the school? The community that's served by the school. Like, what's it like there? How do people engage with each other? What seems to really matter? And then where are people working? Like, what is our college going rate? Like, do people leave the high schools in our community and go to college? Do they go directly into work? What is the context of our school and community, and what is our culture? How does that impact how we as a school engage with our students? If we want to do our best work at this school, we got to understand the community, right? That culture and community context essay is your opportunity to spend a little time in the community and learn about it, try to better understand it, right? And then present that information as if to someone who does not know about your community, okay? You only submit one of these per partner team. So choose a partner that you're going to be really comfortable working with, because over the course of this class, you're going to spend a lot of time working with that person. You're going to be engaged with each other. You got to trust each other and trust that the other person's going to hold up their end of the bargain, and you should enjoy working together. So the topic you choose is something you both feel invested in. The school community is one that you can easily feel invested in, or you are interested in learning more about if you're not there. Make a good choice with your partner. And so for this culture and community context essay, you only present one for your partner team. Okay. The lesson plan. As a counselor, you're going to spend a pretty extensive amount of time delivering either like classroom guidance, if you're in a lower elementary grade, like level. If you're working with elementary, even in middle school, you'll do some classroom guidance. In high school, you're going to be working with the groups to deliver information about the college transition process, scholarships, many different components, right? Like, you are going to be delivering information to the groups in a classroom type setting. For some of you, this will be brand new. You haven't had to really ever think much about classroom management or how to deliver a lesson that's interesting, and engaging, so that your students take something useful away from it. This will be really new for some of you. Others of you, this will be old hat. You've done it many times. You feel really comfortable. Either way, you're going to be fine, and you're going to do good work that helps your students to better understand the topic you're focused on. So for your lesson plan, this requirement asks that you choose something from your topic, like for it to be the best, to me. What I have seen from the best projects over the course of my time teaching this class, which has been a long time now at this point, is that students who really take the IDSL project and think, like, how can I develop these components to fit within that theme and to really advance my stakeholders' understanding of this? So they do better work. They get better impacts. So maybe your project is not focused on lesson delivery, not focused on doing a lot of classroom guidance, but you see an opportunity to connect with the students around your project, around your topic of your project, for your project, through a lesson. Then do it. Design your lesson to be focused on that your focus area for the IDSL project. Go in your class and deliver that lesson. See how it works and see what the students take away from it. If it's one that you can capture some data around, we can talk about options for that. But with that lesson plan, design it in a way that you can do it and advance that work of your IDSL project. It can be one of the strategies for your interventions for the IDSL, for the service learning project, right? So use your lesson plan that way. For the class, you are not required to deliver your lesson plan. You're just required to design one, right? So you could choose any topic, you design your lesson plan and submit it. What I'll tell you though is your ESL project will be better. You'll do better work. You'll have better understanding. It moves your ball down the court if you deliver your lesson. So I would encourage you to do that. But like I said, that's up to you, that piece of it. Okay, the e-poster and the e-poster proposal. I love this assignment because though it seems confusing at first, it is an assignment that you can use directly in just a few months. Because with the e-poster proposal, we design it so it aligns with what they use for the North Carolina School Counseling Conference that they have in October. The poster proposal request will go out for graduate student poster proposal request for the conference goes out in the summer, right? But you'll already have yours done. So for this project, you'll submit a poster proposal in February. At that time, you'll describe in an abstract. You'll present an abstract that shows, like, if you were going to do a presentation on your project at the end of your project, like, what would your abstract say? How can you get potential participants at this conference to be interested in your topic and interested in your poster enough to come by and check it out, right? I'll help you with your abstracts, and there's an explanation of the abstract writing process in Blackboard, but it's really brief. I think it's like 75 words or less. That's on the form, but you write that abstract as if you were going to you're saying what your poster is. So like the abstract is written like just like it would go on a conference bulletin. So someone who looks at the bulletin would say, okay, so if I go to this poster, this would be what I'd see. So that means you're probably not going to have, you won't have your outcomes, right? You wouldn't have outcome data, but you could say outcomes of the project will be shared, right? Or outcomes of the project are shared. Just saves the word for you. You could say challenges and ideas for overcoming challenges are discussed. Like, you don't know what your challenges are going to be when you submit your proposal, but everybody has challenges, right? So with that conference abstract, what you want to do is write it just as it would show up in a conference bulletin. Your bios for the conference, for the poster proposal, are always required for poster submission, for conference presentation submissions like this, because it allows the reviewers to determine if you have the expertise and the experience in the area you're proposing to present about. Like if I wanted to present at a conference and I said I was going to present a conference on brain surgery, right? Well, I don't have the expertise in that. I don't have training for that. So they wouldn't choose me to be a speaker to provide continuing education or training to other people, professionals about this topic, right? So with your bio, highlight the experience you have that is relevant to your focus. If you have worked in the public schools, if you have a bachelor's degree in child development, whatever you have in your bio that highlights why you would be a good and qualified presenter for your topic, that's what's important, okay? So make sure you put that information in your bio. We can talk about all of this further, but for that assignment, again, that one you'll submit one per partner team, right? For the IDSL partner team. That's also true for the lesson plan. You only submit one lesson plan per team. So for the community and culture essay, community culture essay, for the lesson plan, for the e-poster proposal and the e-poster, only one per team, right? The other thing about the e-poster is that poster is just a PowerPoint template. Like there are a bunch of templates you can choose from. And it's just one slide of a PowerPoint. That's what you do. There are some examples of posters you should be able to view. If you have any difficulty with that, let me know. Erica was very kind to share that she had a little difficulty, so I'm working to try to figure out how to what the problem is there. They open on other computers, and so it may be a problem that I have with certain files there. But let me know. If you have any problem accessing any of the material in the class, let me know, and I'll see what I can do to get it fixed. But there are poster templates. And what we'll do with those, the e-poster is just an electronic poster versus one that's like regular in front of you poster for a face-to-face conference. At the end of the semester, when we do these presentations, all those posters, the slides, the posters, they'll each be posted in a discussion board form. And so people will go through electronically and browse the posters presentations for the colloquium. The reflection journal, that you each will be required to submit a reflection journal. There are 3 of those. And over the course of the semester, you'll get, there are certain prompts for each journal, and you'll be in a journal team. So there will probably be 2 different partner teams in one journal group. And you're asked to read everybody's journals when they post them. It's like if you are in a group And then your colleagues, you'll have 3 colleagues in there with you, so 4 of you in a group. You're required to read all 3 of those journals and give a response of some kind. This is our opportunity to reflect on the experience. What are we learning? How are we engaging at our schools? What are our fears and what's working and what's not? And it's an opportunity for that shared reflection. Individual reflection through your journal, you make your post, and then the shared reflection through the discussion. As you start to do those, that will make sense. And then your IDSL project there's a pretty extensive description of your IDSL project on Blackboard, and you can check that out. If you have any questions, let me know. Again, the focus is like, what's the need at your partner school? You have to determine that by talking to the school counselor there. What is the need? How do you want to address it? And how are you going to show the impact? There are a lot of different ways to show the impact. The other thing to remember, though, is that you only have 15 weeks. So I don't expect that we'll see a dramatic decrease in truancy, right? Or a dramatic increase in attendance, right? Not over the course of the 15 weeks. But if you're working with a small group of students and you can get those students there more often, that matters, right? If you're working with a group of students that you can see a small reduction in time out of class due to behavioral issues, that matters. You're going to do work that matters. And some of you are going to do great projects that you don't see much change, you don't have a great impact. That's okay too, because for some of these, they're going to be sustainable. You're going to leave some artifacts at the site for the school counselor to continue to use. And for some of these, it's going to take a while for the work to be ongoing and processed and to become part of the culture of the school, to be able to see any real change. That is okay. You are not you are not evaluated for this project based upon the outcomes of your project. You are only evaluated by the project based on how well you engage in the project and your effort at putting those components in place. That's where the evaluation comes in. Then the final assignment is the final exam. There are the final exam should help to prepare you for the practice, and there'll be, like I said, the quizzes along the way to help you prepare for the final exam, and that piece will be pretty reasonable. There's a span of time it'll be open on Blackboard, and you're able to take it during that time, whatever day that it works for you. Once you start the final exam, though, you are not able to exit out and come back to it. It must be completed in one sitting. But that'll just be very basic when we get to that point. You're asked to engage with your classmates each week. If you have a couple of weeks that you are not engaged, then you're out of step, right? We've got to figure out how to make sure you're looped in. The process for the program is that, or the expectation for the program, the policy is that if you have more than 2 missed sessions, we have to refer you to the counselor and adult education professional performance review. The professional performance review, we do those on all the students a couple of times a semester. To see how are people progressing, are people engaged where they need to be, do we have any challenges? Well, absences, those are a challenge, right? Like we start to miss the opportunity to see your professional performance. So if you have more than 2 weeks, of modules for us that you're not engaged on Blackboard, you'll be referred to that CAPER process, okay? So stay engaged. If you have some week that something big is going on and you can't participate, well, that's just like any class. There are certain times that you will miss a class, right? And that's life. I understand that. But if you have more than 2 of those, then we're really missing you from the bulk of the discussion, right? And we're missing the opportunity to gauge your development and how well you're performing in the class. So please be involved. If you at any point run into challenges with your assignments, you run into challenges with your discussion, you run into challenges with your participation, reach out to me. Let me know. All of your faculty, all of us, me and all of the rest of us want you to be successful. And if you will let us know when you are having difficulties, we will do what we can to help you get to where you need to be, okay? You are not out on your own with this. And so you've got to tell us. We don't, if you don't reach out to us, we have no way of knowing, and we can't be there for you, and we cannot help you. We cannot help you to determine a path to getting back in step, headed towards success, right? So please reach out to us. Please let me know. Don't let zeros show up in the grade book. Let me know if something's happening, because I'm here to help. The class seems pretty complex when you look at it. There's a lot of information, but this is the one class that's focused on the full complexity of the roles of the school counselor, and it is a complex job. I hope that you'll feel excited by the end of the class to think about all of the ways you can touch the lives of your students. And I hope you feel prepared, that to go in, not to know everything. We're not going to leave this class. You're not going to leave this program knowing everything you need to know. Our learning has to continue the whole way over the course of our lives, our professional lives, right? But what we really, really, really need you to take away from the class and from the program is the areas that you need to be prepared to ask questions about. The areas that you know that you're going to be engaged in. And no, you don't know everything right now, or at the end, you won't know everything about every component of those areas, but we want you to be prepared to ask the right questions so you can get the help you need and you can do good work. I know you're going to do good work. I know people are going to work hard. You're in graduate school. Most people, the majority of people, don't make it to this point. They don't get to graduate school. They take other paths, right? You took this path. You're a scholar, and you're going to do good work. And it is work. It's a lot of work, but you're going to be successful. We just have to take it step by step, day by day, and keep a big vision for ourselves in mind of what it is we want for the long haul. And then how do we get there step by step and day by day? And you've got a partner in it. You've got your partner for your ESL project. You've got all of your colleagues in this class. You've got me as your faculty instructor. You've got your partner with the school counselor at your school. And there are a lot of people who are here to back you up and provide some support. Let us help. If at any point you have any challenges, let me know. And really that is pretty much it for the assignments and for how the class works. I hope that week to week it will build on itself. Each week we'll have in your module, you'll have the content on, and then you have like a little section that's focused on that project. Like, so where should you be, like right now? And hopefully that'll be helpful. Some of you may find that a little confusing. Talk to me if you do, and I'll do what I can to explain it to help you better understand it. Maybe I need to make some changes to bring it more in line with how people are reading it. But for the feedback that I get from most students is that it's helpful to have a reminder each week of like where we are and what do we know now and where should we be moving towards, right? And I think that's it. I'm looking forward to your discussions in the discussion board and to the debates and seeing how you represent your side. We always have some very interesting ways of advocating for our side. Good information. You all have a lot of you have much information inside yourself from your own observations, your own engagement with people in schools. You've got a lot to bring and a lot to share. And if we share what we bring together, then the experience will be richer for all of us. So I appreciate you allowing me to talk with you this afternoon. And what I think I will do is, because I don't really have anything else that you need from me directly right now without some questions. So what I'd like to do is just open it up and have some time for questions. And if I find that we don't have any questions, then I might just put it on we'll figure it out. We'll go from there, okay? So we'll wait for just a minute and see if we have any questions that show up. Oh, we do. Got a great question right here. We got the question about, so when are the quizzes due? The quizzes are due by Friday as well. If anybody had the quizzes, the quizzes will open up with the module, and then they run with the module, right? So they are due by Friday. I won't cut you off on Friday. If someone needs Saturday, I guess what I should say is that I start my grading for the module. I usually do my grading on like the Monday of the next week. I'll grade through them, right? Like, so it gives everybody time. If I've missed anything from someone, it gives people kind of a chance to catch up. So if someone needs to do their quizzes by Saturday, then that's fine with me. And so maybe, I don't want to say they're due by Saturday though, because I'd rather you not be working on your weekends. Quizzes are due by Friday, but if you need the extra time, I will not take off points for quizzes that are turned in on Saturday, okay? Your due date for the quizzes is Friday, but no points are taken off for late work turned in on Saturday, okay? Any other questions right now? One thing too that's an option, as we go into the next times that we have the live chat scheduled, so we used to use Google Hangouts. You'll see that in your syllabus it talks about Google Hangouts. So Google Hangouts is what we had always used. Love Google Hangout because we can add in 9 people and then everyone else can be via text chat, right? But 9 people get added via video chat, so you can see each other. And it's nice. You just ask your question and you don't have to type it. You just say what you want to say. And I love it. But Google I think Google bought YouTube. There was I think they acquired YouTube, and YouTube has the streaming. They want their video streaming functions. They don't want to have redundant functions, right? So they are running their, like, the Hangouts on air that we used to do. They are now running them through YouTube. But if you hadn't ever used Google Hangout, the YouTube side, like the side where we had some the questions getting posted, that side looks like the event side of Google Hangout. But what I've discovered in doing this tonight is that you still have the capability of adding people via video chat, because they run the Google Hangout runs like on top of the YouTube Live, or maybe underneath YouTube Live. I don't know. I'm not sure about the hierarchy. So if people have a Gmail account, if you've got a Google Plus account and you send me your Google Plus email, the email that you use for Google Plus, then I can add you to the Google community, and I can also add you when we start these. I can add you directly into the video chat part of this. So instead of having to text, if you know that you like to be able to engage this way, you like an opportunity to have some synchronous engagement in the class, it would allow you to have that, but you can get added in by video. So what I'll do is post an announcement for everyone that if you have a Google Plus account, then please send me the email that you use for that account, and then I'll start adding people to the community. And then when we do the things, I'll invite you to join the call. But it's pretty neat to be able to engage that way, I think. The other thing that we often get asked is, or that I'm often asked most semesters, like, how often should I be in the community, right, that I'm working with for my ESL project? So you've chosen your school, and you've chosen your partner, chosen your school, whatever direction, however you did that. Then, like, how often do you need to be in the community? Well, let's say that we have 2 partners that are we have 2 partners, one of whom is employed in the community at the school, and one of whom lives somewhere else, right? Then it could seem like you're going to run the risk of the employed school counselor to do most of the project. But you don't. That's your project will be better, and you certainly have an accountability to each other to be engaged, right? To do the design together and the delivery together. Don't miss your opportunity to get into these schools and do the delivery. Now, it is not required that I see each partner delivering some component at the school, right? But you will get more out of the class and out of the project and out of the assignment, if you do some delivery there. This class is not your practicum. This class is not your internship. And it gives you an opportunity, because it's not one of those, to jump into the school for a limited amount of time and get a sense of that level, or a school in that area. Because for some people, you'll say, well, I definitely want to do elementary. The range of elementary schools out there, from rural communities to urban communities to communities that have high rates of poverty, to communities that are rural communities that have high rates of poverty, to rural communities that are, you see, pretty middle class. Like, those schools are all different. This class gives you, and the project gives you a chance to jump into one of those schools and see how it is. Now, how do you enjoy it? Do you enjoy the students? What's it like to you to work with the students? Because we have different groups of students that we're drawn to. So there's not a requirement that either of you be in the school for a certain number of hours or specified number of hours, but you will get more out of the assignment. Your projects will be much better, and you'll be a better partner and team member, when you have time in the school and in the community. Okay. Now, if I live in the community, then do I really need, and my other partner lives not in the community, then do I really need to be the one that goes and spends the time visiting with community members to learn more about the culture of the community? No, if I'm the one that lives there, probably not. But it is useful. It will be really useful still for me to be the one that reaches out to the Chamber of Commerce, because I bet we haven't done that in most of our regular lives, right? But for the one who doesn't live in the community, yes, it means I would have to drive in and spend some time. But that's really useful. You learn so much about the context and how people operate if you spend time there. If you can both do it together, that's even better, right? So you got to do what works for you, but there's not a specified amount of time you have to be there. But there's no reason to go through these 15 weeks and do this work and walk away with anything less than the best. And you can get the best. If you spend some time in the community, you spend some time in the school, you will be it is always impressive to me what people learn and how they feel about the process. Not because of the class or even the assignment, but just the opportunity to be in the school in an intentional way, to engage in a kind of strategic and intentional way. That's really helpful to us as we try to determine what we want to do with our lives and what sort of what sort of level and what type of school and just what do we want, like where do we want to work, what do we want to contribute and what outcomes do we want to see. So I hope you will spend time engaged in your community. And if at this point you feel like your questions have been answered, please feel free. Like, this was an opportunity to come in and out. So if you feel like your questions have been answered and there's not more that you need, then please feel free to log out and exit if that's better for you. And if you have other questions, I'm open to answer any questions. I just don't want you to feel like you've wasted any of your time. Yeah, well, it's a I'll show you because it's recording here. This is what you see, and then it's playing back there.
What happens if I record it?
Wait, you know, just a couple of other things that might be helpful as we think about a number of you in this class are, this is your second regular academic semester. Like, you may have started in summer and then did fall, or you just started in the fall. This is like your second regular academic semester. You're at the point where you have the opportunity to really choose, like, are you gonna have a primary specialization and a secondary specialization, or are you gonna have just focus in just on your primaries, solely on your primary specialization? And any of those are fine. All of those are okay options, right? Like, all of them are fine. You should choose what you want to do. A really unique thing about our program, though, is that we have this faculty that are committed to counseling. Counseling is it's our core. That's who we are. That's our discipline. Our discipline and our profession is the profession of counseling. And these specializations fall under that umbrella of counseling, right? So you are trained in this program as a counselor, a clinical counselor first. And then you're trained in your professional specialization area. And in our program, that unique piece, that philosophy that we have leads to this unique piece where you can develop multiple specializations. So you can do the courses, and we have tried to leave a gap with enough electives that allow you to really develop those specializations. So you can develop a strong specialization in school counseling, primary specialization, professional specialization in school counseling, and a strong secondary specialization in student affairs and college counseling or clinical mental health counseling. We're going to make sure that you get the good clinical mental health training that you need, that even if you chose only school counseling in our program, you're going to leave this program with strong clinical mental health training. Like you're going to leave with that strong clinical training so that you're able to apply for your licensed professional counselor, to become a licensed professional counselor associate, right? But if you're really committed to doing that clinical mental health work, then we want you to develop that specialization more extensively than just the core classes, right? So we've got opportunities. And for counselors, you're doing about a little over 20% of the students you work with will deal daily with a mental health issue, right? That's just the stats. A little over that 20% mark. You'll face it. Sometimes it's like a little over 22%. So sometimes it's 25% and 22. Year after year. Like we're in that range. Like almost a quarter of your students are going to be dealing with a mental health issue. So as a school counselor, you want to be prepared to help them with those issues. A very high percentage of your students will never get any help or support beyond the school counselor. Like you will be their only source of clinical mental health support. So we want you to be trained to be prepared to help them. And that help is somewhat of a triage help. You provide some initial help, but then if you've got strong connections to the mental health community and you're able to facilitate good referrals and you have a really good stable of resources available to help your students, then what we're going to see is that your students, a higher percentage of your students get that extra help. You will not be doing long-term individual counseling with students in the schools because you're going to have a really big caseload of students who need you for a wide range of issues, right? But you're going to do some counseling, and then you want to be able to facilitate a good referral. School counselors who are trained strongly and have a strong clinical clinical training background, who have had that experience and who are prepared and who've had good opportunities to connect with the clinical community are better able to facilitate those referrals. They're better able to educate their students and their students' parents and guardians about the need to follow through with those referrals. And they're better at following up with their students who are getting the help, right? To be an additional source of scaffolding and support for those students. Your students will be better served if you have that training. So we make sure the training is built into your core, but then you have this opportunity for those other professional specializations, to develop these other professional specializations. The student affairs and college counseling, you are well positioned to do that professional specialization and to get a job. We have a lot of community colleges in this area. We have a lot of positions within student affairs at East Carolina and in the other universities across the state and across all the states. So for you as a school counselor, like if you choose school counselor as your primary professional specialization, you can still choose one of those others as your secondary and work with your advisor to choose good electives to help round that out. The other piece of it is as you go into practicum, if you're doing practicum now and you're doing it in your secondary placement, secondary specialization, that's awesome because it gives you that real world experience to put on your resume and to get a sense of how to speak the language of your site so that you're able to not only apply, it's not just that you're eligible to apply for these jobs, it's that you're able to speak the language of your site and you're a better candidate for those jobs, right? So use your practicum as that opportunity to get that real world experience in your secondary specialization. And then use your internships for the school counseling experience that lets you get engaged in ways that you're doing the real work of the counselor. You're fully engaged. I think my video feed might have slowed down for a second. So I'm going to try to let that catch up so I don't challenges there. But you're at that point. You kind of get to make some of those choices. And I hope that you will find that you can get good support from your advisors. I know you will. And if you have any questions about that as we go along, or questions about how to kind of integrate those pieces for yourself within like the development that you're getting in the class focused on school counseling, then let me know. Ask the questions. I want to do what I can to try to help you as you take those steps and make those choices for yourself too. And you've got great advisors. The other faculty are just, you're really lucky. I am blessed to be able to work with the other faculty that we have. Like, we have a team of faculty who are really amazing. They are doing really, really interesting work. They're engaged nationally and internationally, and they're well known. They've got great research going on. They are and have great ties to the community. They really understand how to articulate a career trajectory for yourself. So please reach out to your advisors, spend some time with them. They are wonderful, wonderful resources for you. I hope you'll find that you're able to access them easily. Okay, well, I think we have reached the end of any questions we might have. I don't see any other questions coming through, and I have I don't have anything else that I can think of that I think would be really useful to share with you now that just wouldn't be confusing. So I think we may have kind of reached the end of our time with this. And if anyone has additional questions, you're certainly always able to reach out to me and ask. And if whatever I can do to try to clarify, I appreciate you asking questions because it helps us to clarify expectations for everyone in the class. It's useful for all of us. So thank you for your time this evening, and I'll be available if you need me. Thanks a lot.